right, now that we have applied custom materials to floors, let's take a look at doing that for walls. So I'll go ahead and select one of my walls. I have a generic 8-inch. I'm going to edit type and make sure that I duplicate. And I'll go ahead and call this wall type A. And we're going to add a wainscot to it. So I'll add that information right here. All right, so I'm going to go into the structure here. I want to make sure that the preview over here is turned on and set to section view. I'm going to zoom in on that. All right, and then first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to add 2 layers. All right, I'm going to leave one of them blank at 0, and I'm going to go ahead and add 1 inch to that one. And then I'm going to bring this down to 7 inches. That way I'm keeping my overall total thickness at 8 inches, not bumping it up to 9 there. All right, and then once I've added that 1-inch layer, it should have updated in my structure over here in my preview. Let me hit OK and see what's going on. And that is a good error. There you go. You can't ever have a 0 and close out of that. That was kind of odd that it didn't show my 1 inch. So maybe go ahead and add the 1 inch first, and then we'll add the 0. But okay, once I have those layers in here, we're going to leave one at 0 thickness because we're going to assign it once we split the region here. So again, make sure that preview is turned on to the section. I'm going to click on split region. I'm going to zoom in here over on my left-hand side on the preview. And I'm going to hover over my 1-inch section, and I'm going to click, and that click is going to create that line and split the region there. So really important not to get click happy at this point in time. It's really easy to create a lot of splits over here, but we just want to do that one right now. And then also don't worry too much about the dimension. Once that region is split, I'm going to click modify. I can zoom in and click on the split. And once I click on that split, then I can actually click into the dimension and move it so that I get a clean number there. All right, so now I have 3 foot, I've got my 0. So now, if I click on these, you can see right now, both of those are still assigned to this one layer. That's assigned to that one. And then this one, the 0, 0 is assigned to nothing. So what I want to do is I'm going to say assign layers. Make sure I click on, for me, it's number 2, but whichever one is the 0 thickness. I'm going to move it over into the preview box and then click on the layer. Not that one. That's not what you want to do. Okay, I can fix that in case that happens. I'm going to reassign that layer. I want this one to go to this one, which isn't clicking well. Great. But I want to reassign that back. Wow, this has gotten more tricky to work with. Excellent. All right, well, that was good practice. I'm going to go ahead and start that over. I'm going to hit structure. I'm going to insert my first layer here. Adjust my thickness on the other one. So I have an overall thickness here. I'm going to go ahead and go in and split the region. I'm going to zoom in 1 click. Don't worry about that dimension. We can click on modify. Go back in here. Clean it up to 3 foot. Then I'm going to insert my 0 thickness layer. And then I'm going to go to modify, and let's do that modify so that nothing is selected. Then I'll click assign layers. I want to assign my 0, 0, and I want to assign it to this section here. So you should just be able to click on this area and have it, there we go, assigned to just that portion. That's what we want to do. As you can see from before, it is tricky. And once you have that assigned, make sure you don't click on anything else and go right back to modify and get out of there. As you could see from before, very easy to assign layers to the wrong portion of the wall. So you want to be really precise and clean in here. So to make sure that everything is assigned correctly, once I've clicked modify, I'll click on number 2. I can see that's assigned to the lower portion here. 3 is the upper portion, and then 4 is the back here. So if I go into 2, I can go into the material now, and let's say this is floor 2, but let's go ahead and find a tile that we can add for that wainscot. All right, and then I can add something to the wall above. Let's see what paints are in here. And you can add as many, you know, if you want to add different colors for this, you're welcome to do so. I'm just going to use what's in Revit for the sake of time for this tutorial. Okay, so then I'll go ahead and hit OK, and then OK. And there we go. You'll see now, there we go, it's on the other side. There are my tile. It's a very small tile. And my paint color. You'll see that it is only on one side of the wall, and that is because similar to that section view while we were in the structure, we were just editing one side. So it's only going to show up on one side. If you want it to be on both, you need to add in another layer and do the splits on both sides. You can also add in as many splits as you would like. So if you have 4 materials on this wall, you can do as many split regions and add those in as needed. If you end up wanting to have, let's say this was like one entire room, let's take a look at how we would work with that. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this wall. I'm going to hit CS, which is create similar. And I'm going to go ahead and window tile. I'm going to go to modify and that command. I'm going to window tile WT ZA for zoom all. Zoom back in a little bit. All right, so you can see how this can start to get a little bit confusing, you know, on the interior, the exterior. So you can always flip these. Just because it's on the exterior right now doesn't mean you need to go back in and re-edit the whole wall. I can just flip which side it's on. So to do that, and just in plan view, you can use these little arrows here. You can see that that flipped it, or you can also use spacebar. So just selecting the wall and hitting spacebar will flip it back and forth as well. All right, so let's see, that one's still set to the outside. So I'm gonna hit spacebar, flip that. All right, so now we have all 4 walls within that room, but now the other walls of this room might not be that material. So let's take a look at how we could work with that. So right now this is all one wall. So if it's only this portion here that has the wainscot and the red paint, I can use the split command. Remember, we used that to review that early on, our split element. So if I use my split element command, I can come in here and I can split the wall. All right. And I'm going to come in here and do the same thing over here. Okay. Now I'm going to go to modify to exit that command. Now, if I look at it here, now you can see I have 3 different walls. All right. So now I can easily switch this back to my generic 8-inch. I can also use my match properties to do that very quickly. If I hit MA, I know this is my generic 8-inch and I know I want that to be that. I can use first click as my source, second click is what I'm changing. All right, that's match properties command, MA shortcut. All right, so there we go. So now we've quickly switched that back out. So it's just this one room that has those materials all the way around on the interior.